Problem 39 from section 2.6. We're supposed to give a rule for each piecewise defined function and also give the domain and range. So let's start by looking at the rules for this piecewise defined function. Let's start at the top. So the first line, the highest line, in the highest line, y always equals 2 when x is greater than 0, but not equal to 0 because the circle is left empty. So the rule for this top part of the function would be f of x equals x if, f of x equals 2 if x is greater than 0. Now going down to the bottom, we'll take, it seems like y increases at about the same rate that x does, but let's check that with the slope formula. So we'll plug in the points -1, -1, and 0, 0 into our slope formula. So that leaves us with slope equals -1 minus 0 over -1 minus 0, which is the same thing on both in the numerator and the denominator, so they cancel out and the slope equals 1. The 1 would technically go in front of the x, but it's kind of implied because 1x and x are the same thing. So y equals x, or f of x equals x, and that happens to be the identity function, interestingly enough. However, that function only applies up until and during the period when x equals 0. So the rule for this function would be, turn this crooked a little bit, f of x equals x if x is less than or equal to 0. So now we'll find the domain and range. The domain is all the values for x, and x basically goes on forever in this function because it goes all the way up to 0 in the bottom part, and then when it also equals 0 because the dot is filled in, and then we move up to the top part and x goes on forever from there, though it doesn't include 0. So the domain for x would be -infinity, infinity, exclusive. Y is a little bit more tricky. The values for y go down forever, like start at 0 and go down forever. So the first part of the range would be -infinity, 0, inclusive. However, it changes in the top part of the function. Y equals 2 as x increases. However, at 0, there is no y value. So the range of the function would be -infinity, 0 inclusive, union with 2. So the domain is -infinity, infinity, exclusive, and the range is -infinity, 0 inclusive, union with 2. And yeah, those are the answers to the problem.